Have you guys ever wondered how tall Snake is? You haven't? Well, I do. I think about this stuff a lot. So, welcome back to the channel that goes over all the stuff that no one really thinks about or cares about in games, and goes way too in depth with them. So, first off, we need to establish the fact that the wikis are a jumbled mess. Big Boss is statured at both 6'4" and 5'11", but fear not, I did all the work that no one else would really ever think of doing, and today I'm here to clear all this stuff up. So basically, when Hideo Kojima was making Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, he was toying around with the idea of making Snake more like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so he wanted to make him really tall and a lot bigger than Solid Snake. Therefore, he was toying with the idea of putting him in as 6'4". However, this didn't fare well for a stealth game. So instead, Hideo Kojima ended up leaving Snake at his original height in the original games, which was 5'11". And if you play through Snake Eater, you can see when he's standing next to other characters, for example, like the boss, who was listed at 5'10", it makes a lot of sense if you put him at 5'11". So now that we cleared this up, we can start talking about not only Solid Snake's height, but the other Snake's height. So, if you thought deciphering two different heights was difficult, if you take a look at Solid Snake's wiki, he has 3 different heights. In the original Metal Gear games, he was listed at 5'10", 178 centimeters. In Metal Gear Solid 1, he was listed at 182 centimeters, which is 6 feet. And in Metal Gear Solid 4, he was listed at 180 centimeters, which is 5'11". So for a long time, I just juggled these 3 different heights, and I didn't necessarily know what to go with. I thought, okay, is he just wearing boots in Metal Gear Solid 1? Did he shrink in Metal Gear Solid 4? And the one thing that actually helped me come to a decent conclusion is Solidus Snake. Now in Metal Gear Solid 2 you have this thing called Demo Theater, and in this Demo Theater you can swap out different character models. And if 2 characters aren't the same height or have different body proportions, it's gonna look weird when they're holding weapons. However, Solidus Snake and Solid Snake share the same body proportions. Now, Solidus is a perfect clone of Big Boss, meaning he has all the same body proportions and facial features of Big Boss. Now, if Big Boss is 5'11", that means Solidus, the perfect clone, is also 5'11". And if his player model is interchangeable with Solid Snake, and they share the same body proportions, Solid Snake is 5'11". Now, although it would be easy to just say Venom Snake is also 5'11", because Big Boss is 5'11", they match the same height, I think it's more convincing to show evidence as to that Solid Snake's model and Venom Snake's model are both also interchangeable, therefore Venom Snake is also 5'11". And also, kind of, I guess you could call this a bonus, but to make sense of the whole 182 or 6 feet on Solid Snake's wiki page, you could argue that all of them reach that height when they're wearing their boots, which they're pretty much wearing for the entire series. I mean, you have the bonus outfits and a few outfits. I believe Solid Snake's sneaking suit, Metal Gear Solid 4, has flats on it, which honestly now makes sense, because he's 5'11", and in that game he's listed as being 5'11", because he doesn't have any boots on, so he's not 182. So you can take that with a grain of salt, but that makes a little more sense about the whole different heights on his wiki page. So now the only Snake that's left is Liquid, and although I don't have any model swapping evidence for him, I think it's pretty safe to say that he's at least around 5'11", just like the rest of them. He is the dominant clone of Big Boss with the dominant gene, so maybe he's a centimeter taller, but it's safe to say he's around that height. So figuring out their weights is a little bit easier since most of them only have one weight listed on their wiki. Big Boss is 89 kilograms, which in pounds is 197 pounds, which on a 5'11 frame makes him a pretty big boy. In Snake Eater he looks a lot more proportionate, but in Ground Zeroes it's pretty easy to see that he has a lot of that weight stored in his thick thighs. And although I don't think Solidus's thighs are that thick, since he is an exact clone of Big Boss, although the wiki doesn't state his weight, it's pretty safe to guess that he's around the same, so 89 kilograms or 197 pounds. Venom is probably the trickiest to try to figure out the weight, because at the beginning of the game it looks like he's around 125 pounds from his coma, but then canonically within the next week all of a sudden he's beefed up. He still doesn't look that big, like he doesn't look like Big Boss and Peace Walker or Snake Eater, and although some of the outfits make his thighs look real thick, it's a lot of padding, you know? So I say for Big Boss it would be a lot, Venom Snake. Well, I guess they're both Big Boss, but for Venom Snake it's probably a lot safer to put him at around 165 pounds, which is Solid Snake's weight. In kilos, that would be around 75 kilos. And again, Liquid is the hardest one to figure this shit out over, but since his player model looks a lot similar to Solid Snake's in Metal Gear Solid 1, I think it'd be safe to say that Liquid is around 165 pounds as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed me ramble about things that a lot of people just generally wouldn't care about, but I find this stuff interesting, and if you do, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe for more unorthodox gaming content.